Wow. End of week 5. What a week, right? I knew it was going to be challenging for me because I had to fit in all the appointments that I have, which, by the way, and I said this once, but some of you didn't catch it, is that if my code sessions, my review sessions didn't work for your schedule, that you could reach out to me. And several of you did, and we worked out a different time other than the schedules that were listed. So if you didn't hear me, I did say that you could reach out to me if those times didn't work for you. So there's a couple of you that I didn't see this week, but many of you I did. And I said this out on chat, but I very much enjoyed the code, and talking to the student, talking to you all this week was really the highlight of my week. And I really enjoy looking and talking with you about, because each of you come at this at a different place of experience level, and what you're doing is taking, and this is the hardest part of this class, is taking the concepts of what you're trying to build and create code, right? Create a code that will accomplish that at some level. And one thing I kind of said almost consistently with most people was, sometimes it's good to step back and maybe make that a little simpler idea, get that working, and then add functionality into that code base, right? Because when you're trying to eat this is a horrible expression, but when you're trying to eat the elephant, you can't eat it all at one time. You need to eat it. God, that's horrible. I can't even say it, but the idea is break it down, make it a little smaller, so that way it's doable. The other thing, I've been talking about this from the beginning of the semester, but some of you still did it. I wanted you to write in the style, not just of course in JavaScript, the language, but in the style that we're learning, the style that Andrew's teaching. And the reason I'm using Andrew's course is that he's a professional developer with good practices. And I'm sure Jared could, tease him apart and say there's parts of it. But the point is that he's somebody that's doing this professionally. So we want to follow his style, the way he declares functions, the way he's handling objects, right? We haven't done new. We are not doing object instantiation. Now, if you want to, and you added that to your develop it one, as long as you can explain it to me, I was okay with that. Right? But the idea is I want you to code in the style of JavaScript. And here's what happens. There's some of you, a small group, but it's worth saying, that have had other programming languages, and you're trying to make JavaScript act like those languages. And it's just not what you want to do, because you're not using the language. You're not really learning. You're trying to leverage what you knew in the past. And I understand why, totally understand why. But this is why I've been trying to harp on the style is important, right? To follow the style that we're learning. So there you go. So let me be clear about another thing. So now every week from here, which is not that many weeks away, right? So it's really 3 weeks. A lot of content, a lot of things to learn. What is your output from Dev 1, you then take every week in the Learn Together, and you implement at least a part of, now we'll be talking about this each week, of that what we're learning for that week into that code base, right? So this week, I had already recorded, the week 6, not of course, but the week 6 Learn Together. Because this week, we're moving to the browser. Woohoo, right? So I showed how in the video, because I ended up just grabbing some of the data I had in my Develop It 1, and I used it to just present, show to the user, filter out based on some user input. But ultimately, what you need to do by the end of week 7 is actually have fully implemented whatever your code base was in the browser. So here's what this looks like for me, right? So instead of, I still have input fields, right? And I actually know what I was thinking about this laying in bed last night, is how I'm going to do the user interface here. Because I'm going to dynamically, anyway, you'll see it as it evolves. And that's the other thing, is it evolves each week. But the idea is, right, because the other thing you have to do in the browser, and we should have done it better when we were in command line, but for sure you got to do it here, is handle whatever the user's giving you. And the user isn't going to give you what you think they're going to give you. They're not going to give you the exact right path of what you want. So like in this case, if you tried to play my game without giving a player name, you can't. It'll stop you. It won't function. It won't run the game. But what I should have done is when the user clicked back into there, I should have cleared the error message. So, but now if I give it a username or a player name and I click, then I get the output of the game. But I am going to rework this interface because I already have ideas about way I want to do that. And I'm going to then dynamically, based on the player, present their detail at the bottom of how many times they've played. Because they could play in this case. But anyway, so the idea, just showing you, like by the end of week 7, you want to have implemented at least the basic functionality that you had in your Develop It 1 into the browser. I'm giving you 2 weeks to do it, but during that 2 weeks, we're adding well, this in week 7, week 6, it's great because he's showing you how to deal with the browser, how to deal with the DOM, how to do document query selector so you can select pieces of DOM, how you update that DOM. And then in the next week, the section 8, we'll learn about local storage so that we can then take the user input and instead of losing it each time we run our program, we're going to actually store that in local storage. So we're moving into what I think is going to be more fun and it'll help you. The reason I was trying to have you simulate the idea of the user input is so that if you've done that in your code, then moving it to the browser is going to be easy. Matter of fact, I was surprised how easy it was because I had done all the pre-work before. Now, I've been trying to encourage this, so I'm going to encourage it again. Come see me more often. And I think some of you have heard me now. And we'll do that, right? Because the more you come it could be a group of us, right? I'd love to have when I have my office hours at Bitwise or over at Fresno City, or maybe a time that, we could chat about that. The chatting class has been awesome. And by the way, shout out to Jared. He stayed up late last night, answered everyone's question. Him and I had a discussion about this today about, how much help is helpful. And, but he's such a great guy. I mean, we're so blessed to have him in this class. And actually he's him along with some other people, but he really, for the Learn Together for week 5, really did an amazing job of answering questions and giving code examples. The thing I would say to you, and I will say this as clear as I can, this is a benefit of working ahead, because the more you work ahead, the more likely, and it gives us a little more time who are reviewing your code, more time to give you good feedback. And I know at least one person said, well, I don't work until the due date. Well, that's your choice. Just know that at least from my perspective, you may not get the feedback you are hoping for, but I will still give you feedback. It just it won't be feedback that you can act upon. So you get to decide how you do this. And I get it. This class is short term and it's running really quickly. But I don't know if it'd be that much different on a 18 week, but I hear some of you say that you feel it would be. So I have to really think about that part of it. But regardless, this week, again, for those of you that didn't see me, code's due tonight. For those of you that did, you have until Monday at noon. There was a little confusion, so let me be clear, right? Monday at noon. And maybe here's a question. Even if students didn't come see me, should I give everyone till Monday at noon? And my feeling is no, but I try not to make this a dictatorship. I try to make it more of a, because I listen to student input. So, but the students didn't reach out to me and look for alternative times. So I don't know. What do you think? Let's hear it. Let's hear what you think about that or any of the stuff that I've chatted about. But I'm going to stop here because I've got to get my DevFest talk going. And that will be fun. I'm looking forward to putting together my machine learning talk, which I have a lot of it. I just got to piece it together. So peace out. Have a great weekend. I typically will at least check in, but I'm focused on other things during the weekends. I know I'm seeing some of you starting Monday, but you have to have done a code review with me by my last session on Wednesday. So you can check this sheet. Reach out to me if you have any questions. Have a fabulous weekend. Thank you. Bye.